Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed this free clip of aggressive progressives on the Young Turks. This is just a preview of what you will receive with TYT membership. That means exclusive interviews, panel discussions, and more of Jimmy, and of course, me. Check out this next clip, and if you like what you see, you can access full episodes of Aggressive Progressives by becoming a member. Head to tyt.com/join now.
Welcome back to Aggressive Progressives. I am Ron Placone. Jimmy Dore is out sick. I am joined today by the political vigilante, Mr. Graham Elwood.
What's up? Look at that. I'm showing my Burt Reynolds right in here. Looking, keeping my Burt Reynolds right open my mic.
And shout out to that nice kind of horror-esque film intro music, getting me stoked for Halloween, making me want to catch up on some Netflix horror.
Aggressive Progressive.
Actually, hey, I got a good one leading into our next segment. Hillary 2020.
No.
Yeah. Is it a thing? Maybe. We hope not. Let's go and see what is actually going on. Let's go to the first graphic, if we could, please. So here's what we're referring to. Hillary Clinton leaves door open for 2020 run. Quote, I'd like to be president. And let's go to that first quote here. We have some verbiage from the clip that has been circling the blogosphere. Do you want to run again? Kara Swisher asked during a Friday night Q&A with Clinton. Now, Clinton quickly said no. She was like, no, and that got laughter from the audience. But when Swisher pressed her further, she added, I'd like to be president. And I will say I saw the video clip in question. That part did get applause. But those could have been Trump supporters applauding. We don't know. So we don't, you know, I mean, that could have
Which would be a slam dunk for him to get reelected again.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I know people are like, hey, why are we talking about Hillary right now? Trump is so awful. Yes, Trump is awful. So let's all agree. We don't agree on everything right now. The left is a bit fractured. We know this. But let's all agree. Let's not run the person that guarantees us Trump for another 4 years.
But she won the popular vote.
Let's not do that.
She won the popular vote. Like, enough. Why did she get to? She ran in 08 and lost. Howard Dean didn't get to run again. She lost. She tried and she lost. There you go. That's it. Bob Dole didn't get to run again. She had her shot. She ran a second time when Democratic leadership said she is so unelectable. Right? She is so unelectable. It's just unbelievable. And she's the only female Democrat that could run. I mean, if this, what this should say is just, I'm gonna just write Tulsi 2020. That's who I want to see run. Tulsi Gabbard, run for president. For the love of God, please.
I would love to see that too. But you know what, in fairness, now she said she's not thinking about a run until after the midterms, because she wouldn't want to come off as like self-involved.
No, she's never. Hillary Clinton grandstanding.
Very out of character.
No,
very out of character.
She's just this demure little thing. I guess the people want me to run. No, your benefactors want you to run. This is what's up with Hillary Clinton. Okay, so the Clinton Foundation gets money from powerful people, right? What they're buying is when the Clintons are in power, that they'll then do the bidding of these powerful corporations and these powerful countries, right? So 20 countries that donated to the Clinton Foundation all were given defense contracts while she was Secretary of State, okay? So the Clintons not being in office hurts their donations for their foundation. So they have to keep pushing people and saying, no, we still have influence. We still have influence. We might run. Someone's going to run, because it's like, why am I, if I'm, you know, the UAE or the Saudis or whatever, why would I donate to a foundation where the two top people in it aren't in any positions of power that can help me?
Well, and let's reiterate, you know, who else really wants her to run? Donald Trump.
Of course.
I mean, the very ironic thing here is that, I mean, let's say she does run. Let's say there is a Clinton 2020, and let's say she is the nominee. The Pied Piper strategy that their campaign did to Donald Trump in 2016, it would make sense for the Trump administration to do that to her. Like, it would make sense for him to call her and be like, hey, Hillary, remember that Pied Piper thing you did for me? Can you give me some notes on that? No reason. Just.
Well, it's like when they reelected Nancy Pelosi, Republicans were high-fiving. They were doing backflips. The Democratic Party, man, if it ran actual candidates, and they started today, right now, going, we're going to put somebody like Tulsi Gabbard up there with like minimum wage, cutting war, single-payer health care, free college tuition. Who could they lose to? They would crush everyone.
Her as a personality too, because Tulsi Gabbard is young, she speaks well, she's energetic, she's aspiring, and she's a veteran.
And she's a veteran that's anti-regime change. She's the one who's been so outspoken about why are we going to Syria, and she said flat out, I had friends that didn't come home from Iraq.
Right.
That is the most noble of reasons. And oh, she's called an Assad apologist by jackasses like Howard Dean. Like the Democratic Party, man, I don't know what they're thinking, and that this is still even a thing, Hillary Clinton. We're still, I don't know. I'd like to be president. You know what, Hillary? So would I. I'd like to be president and have a wave pool on the front lawn, and Kelly Slater is my secretary of surfing, and we just surf on the front lawn of the White House every goddamn day. Bye. Go away. You're the worst. You're a pro-choice Republican, all right?
Your campaign slogan could be peace tide.
Campaign manager.
I feel like we're onto something here. I think that could be like Surfs Up Elwood 2020.
Elwood Gabbard, she surfs.
She does.
Gabbard Elwood, I'll be your VP. I don't care.
There you go.
I mean, I have no experience in public office, but what does that matter? Look who's in the White House right now.
That totally doesn't matter at all anymore.
This is just the Democratic Party, all their little incremental centrist. You know what I mean? We're reducing the influence of superdelegates, but they're still there, right? Like Hillary Clinton, maybe like enough. They did no overhaul. They did no like self-evaluation after their loss. When the Republicans lost in 08, they really sat down and changed and said, how can we do this? They went harder to the right. They went more jingoistic and all this other scary crap that they're dealing with. But the Democrats should go hard left, and instead they go pro-banking.
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs with a rainbow flag. That's who they are.
Yeah, pretty much. And hopefully this is just like sort of a clickbaity opportunity and nothing more. I don't. And again, it gets back to she would lose. Like she would lose. She is the one person that we can guarantee Trump will be reelected. Like she will for sure. And it's not progressives' fault. It's not because me and Graham could go out and get I'm with her tattoos on our butt cheeks. It wouldn't make a difference.
It wouldn't matter. No.
It would not matter. It would actually, you know what? You know the funniest Hillary Clinton tattoo you could get is on your left butt cheek have public position, and then on your right butt cheek have private position. That would be
if she
that would be the best tattoo.
I tell you why this might actually be a good thing.
If she runs?
If she runs and she gets the nomination, then Bernie or Tulsi have to run as independents or form a third party. They have to. Like the Greens and the Libertarians have to join forces. I don't know what, but that it would cause the like cataclysmic shift that we needed in 16. I think Bernie, if he would have ran in, Chris Hedges and Cornel West say that was his moment and he blew it.
Right.
I think if she honestly runs again and the Democratic Party is legitimately getting behind her and she's got a shot at being the nomination again, then we have to form a progressive labor-based third party. We just have to.
Well, because then there is absolutely no more subtlety that our entire system isn't just being held hostage by corporate issues. It already is. Like it's not like that that isn't already the case. We all know that's already the case. But if that were to happen, that she were to run again and win the nomination again, then the mask is entirely off.
Oh yeah.
The mask is already off. There's just a few layers still hanging out. There's a little bit of surface makeup that hasn't been washed away yet. That makeup is completely removed if she were to run again. Oh, I mean, it is a scary sentiment.
It is honestly, like, if she gets the nomination again, you want to talk about white privilege, that she gets to just, rich white lady just keep running. She no matter what, she's got the money. She raised $1.5 billion in her last campaign. She didn't, and that was more, Trump raised about $900 million. She raised $1.5 billion. And then still goes on all these talk shows in her book, blames the
Well,
Byrne
that's what
bros.
her, and actually, let's go to the second graphic since you brought that up. Let's go to the second graphic here. Clinton and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, announced this month that they will be embarking on a 13-city tour over the next year, hosting discussions about current events and politics across the country. Clinton in September released a new afterword for her campaign memoir, What Happened, criticizing the Trump administration's policies and expressing concern that the nation's democracy is in crisis.
Well, yes, so it is in crisis, especially when you hijack a primary.
Yeah.
When you blocked, what, 26 million independents, when you purge voter rolls, when you openly cheat, when someone from a major news network gives you the questions ahead of a debate. Yeah, yes, it is in crisis thanks to you.
Well, and here's the takeaways from this. There's a couple things we can count on. First of all, we can count on the Clintons whenever there is a political crisis in this country, which we've reached a moment of crisis. You can always count on the Clintons to try to find a way to profit off of it, and they'll succeed. The other thing you can count on, it really is just a big club and you ain't in it. It looks like Trump is finally enjoying being president, so Hillary's gonna help him keep the job. We're up against a break. We'll be right back. You are watching The Aggressive Progressives. Do not go away. Keeping it metal, welcome back to Aggressive Progressives. I am Ron Placone. Jimmy Dore is out sick. I am joined today by the political vigilante, Mr. Graham Elwood.
Boom, let's do it. Aggressive and progressive, both of my fists of truth.
And we're on the road, by the way. We got some tour dates coming up. We'll tell you about this. And some of you, by the time you see this, it might be too late. But this weekend, November 2nd and 3rd, November 2nd, we will be in Sacramento, California. That show is sold out. So we can't wait to see you in Sacramento. And November 3rd, we'll be in San Francisco, California. Tickets available at ronplacone.com and grahamelwood.com. And our special guest on those shows is Twitter sensation Peter Douche, one of my favorite Twitter accounts out there. He is going to be opening up the shows with a dialogue, and he's going to be reading from his book. So we're really excited about those shows. And then coming up, we're going to be touring Florida in January 9th, Gainesville, January 10th, Coral Gables, January 11th, Orlando, January 12th, Jacksonville, Florida. And this has just been announced. Tickets aren't even available yet, but please stay tuned and mark your calendars. March 13th.
The Big Easy, baby. New Orleans. We're gonna bring some progressive comedy tour to the Big Easy.
And I'm pretty sure that's after. Fat Tuesday. So I'm hoping that they still have a bunch of booze available. Sometimes they do. When it's like post Fat Tuesday, and it's like they have like a bunch of booze left over that they didn't sell. They sell it on the cheap at the bars.
And then you can come and come to our show and then go to Bourbon Street and have progressive vomit on the street in Bourbon Street. It'll be really fun. So check that out.
Vomit for the 99. That's what we're going for. That's what we're shooting for.
Workers vomit unite, everybody.
So, speaking of things that are stomach turning, here's kind of a memo that we all need to.
God, that was a beautiful segue.
Here's the headline here coming up. Democrats can't win until they recognize how bad Obama's financial policies were. He had opportunities to help the working class, and he passed them up. Just went by them.
Yep, decided
there they go.
Give the banks everything they want and not prosecute anybody.
Helped out Wall Street and Main Street. Just got lost in Flint somewhere. I don't know what happened there. Just kind of.
The bailout money got lost.
I thought the water was fine. I thought I'd bounce, and it's just.
We'll just see how Standing Rock plays out.
I'm gonna go to Italy and talk about how bad the voters are. What are you gonna do? So here's what's going on. In late 2016, on the heels of Hillary Clinton's loss, President Obama did say that to win elections, Democrats need to reach out to working people and not be seen as a party of coastal elites. And then
he went and got paid $200,000 by Cantor Fitzgerald to give a speech.
And then he went windsurfing, and then he went to Italy and said how bad the voters in America are and everything's their fault. And so, striking that populist tone, which was a tone he took in office in 2008.
A tone I voted for.
A tone that I voted for twice as well.
Worked in his campaign in 2008.
No regrets?
We're gonna need to take a break. No, I'm. Yeah.
You know what? When we were during prep, when we were considering this story, I was like, Graham's gonna have nothing to say about this topic. He has no experience on this, I don't think.
Not at all. I'm trying to remember. '08. Let's see. I had a good credit score. I owned a condo near the beach. Work was starting to dry up. The recession hit. There was not work. It was even trickling down into stand-up comics. I was starting to fall behind on my mortgage payments, and they told me, wait till after 30 days to make a late payment, because then all of this stimulus money will bail you out. And then they did that, and they put me on a forbearance for 3 months. They cut my mortgage payment in half for 3 months, and they said at the end of the 3 months, we're going to restructure your loan. And they came back and said, oh, you don't qualify. You've been making half payments for 3 months, and now you're behind. Yes.
So after they told you to make those payments, they said, takesy backsies.
Sorry.
Psych. Hey.
Obama got into office. He was going to change the things. They did the same thing again. There's a new stimulus plan from Obama. Bush put in $700 billion. Obama then put in $700 billion. Same thing. Cut my mortgage payment way down. We're going to restructure your loan. We want to keep people in their homes. They did that again under Obama. Boom. And that was when he let, One West Bank bought my bank, my mortgage for 30% of its value. And then they decided to kick me out because I was in a valuable neighborhood and they could make profit off of kicking me out and selling back my home. Yay! And then Kamala Harris, Attorney General of the state of California, didn't prosecute Steve Mnuchin. She could have, but she didn't. So anyway, yeah, I love the Democratic Party. They're fantastic, and I love banks. And Obama, he put all those guys behind bars, though. He did. Oh, dang, I ran the wrong thing. No, he didn't prosecute anybody. I keep getting the wrong news. I'm sorry. He didn't prosecute anybody, but at least when he had control of the House and the Senate and the White House, he passed all that legislation. Oh, no, he didn't pass the legislation. You guys, who gave me this report? You guys gave me faulty information. I thought Obama came in and saved everything like FDR did. He
passed that very progressive healthcare reform that Mitt Romney wrote.
Right, because Democrats in the House and Senate wouldn't let him pass the real good one. Right, okay, so... Right, so it's all...
And then much like those half payments, the public option also got a psych.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
So 5.2 million foreclosures were helped created by President Obama. Read the book by Dave Dane, Chain of Title. He'll go into the detail on how they did it.
So let's go to this article. The first segment here. 2 key elements characterize the kind of domestic political economy the administration pursued.
Lies and... I'm sorry, I read that wrong. My fault. I'm sorry, Ron. I keep interrupting.
That was like the 4th one. So we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Sorry,
we're still in the first and second.
I'm gonna drink my tea.
The first was the foreclosure crisis and the subsequent bank bailouts. The resulting policy framework of Tim Geiser's Treasury Department was, in effect, a wholesale attack on the American home, the main store of middle-class wealth, in favor of concentrated financial power. The second was the administration's pro-monopoly policies, which crushed the rural areas that in 2016 lost voter turnout and swung to Donald Trump. So basically, Obama didn't cause the financial crisis, as Graham's story backs up, but he failed to do anything about it. He failed to change anything, essentially.
This is the thing. If Obama would have come in and did what he said, the thing, I remember I was so like, I was taking up the hope and change. I thought he was gonna be like FDR, and man, he was gonna change. I remember watching the Republican convention, and I'm watching Sarah Palin. I'm a moose hunter, and I was like, what is a moose hunting gonna do about saving my home? You're not gonna save my home. I don't wanna listen to your nonsense. And Obama had...
Well, she could have looked out her backyard and seen Russia and found you a new place.
Oh, that's my fault. God, I'm such a big city...
I don't know if she would have or not, but maybe.
I'm such a big city elitist with my public school education and my state college degree. And he had the opportunity. Obama could have come in, and when he had the House and the Senate, he could have said, but there were counties that voted for Obama twice that voted for Trump. There were people who were like, they were like 8 years of Bush, we're done. There were Republicans, there were right-leaning people in the middle of the country that said, we're done, man, we're done. I don't care, let gays get married. I'm losing my home, I'm losing my farm, I'm losing my business, I'm gonna vote for Obama. And they had the House and the Senate, and they could have passed law after law after law. We could be sitting here talking about, wow, we're so off of Middle Eastern oil now that it doesn't matter that the Saudis are murdering journalists, you know what I mean? We could be out, no, Obama helped start the war in Yemen. Like, I'm so done with people on the left telling me that everything was so great under Obama. You mean when he deported 2 million people? Is that? Or when he took us from 2 wars to 7? Is that was everything was so great?
Well, and getting back to the article, let's see in this scenario, financial-wise, what exactly did he do? Well, first he saved the financial system. Now that means the big banks. A financial system in collapse has to allocate losses. In this case, big banks and homeowners both experienced losses. It was up to the Obama administration to decide who should bear those burdens. Spoiler alert, we already told you who he picked. The Obama administration took a different approach. Rather than forcing some burden sharing between banks and homeowners through bankruptcy reform or debt relief, Obama prioritized creditor rights, placing most of the burden on borrowers. I would replace most with all. This kept big banks functional and ensured that financiers would maintain their positions in the recovery. Bankers got off scotch-free, the citizens, the homeowners, not so much.
And you saw it trickle into the press, you know? What are these people doing, taking all of these mortgages and these things and stuff like that? Mortgage brokers were saying, oh, just refi, pull money out, refi, pull money out. Was that kind of reckless? Maybe. But what are you supposed to do? I guess, yes, there is some personal responsibility, but if my brakes are squeaking and I go to my mechanic, I don't know anything about cars, and my mechanic says, no, your brakes are fine, and then I get into an accident, yeah, ultimately it is my fault, but the expert just told me, all these financial people were saying, oh, gee, just do it, we'll refinance. I didn't think I qualified for a home loan. Yeah, you do, you're fine, you're great. They said that to millions of people, man.
It's kind of like your mechanic told you, hey, you got like 20,000 more miles on these brakes. Don't worry about it until 20,000 miles, then we're gonna revisit these brakes. You might need new brakes. And then actually 1,000 miles, your brakes completely go.
Completely go.
And the mechanic's not there.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened.
And the mechanic gets bailed out.
Guys, we are up against a break. We're going to be talking more about this in the next segment. You are watching the Aggressive Progressives. Graham Elwood and I got tour dates coming up. You guys know that. RonPlacone.com or GrahamElwood.com for tour dates. And don't forget to follow us over on the YouTube, YouTube.com/RonPlacone. And what is the Political Vigilante YouTube?
YouTube.com/Graham Elwood. Watch both of our shows. Like, subscribe, go to our Patreons, guys. Keep independent media alive.
We are up against a break. We'll be right back. You're watching the Aggressive Progressives. Welcome back to the Aggressive Progressives. I am Ron Placone. Jimmy Dore is out sick today. I am joined by the political vigilante, Graham Elwood. And shout out to the intro music. Had a little bit of a Motorhead vibe. I appreciated that. I saw Lemmy right before he died. They took the stage and he said, we're Motorhead, we play rock and roll, hope that's okay. And then they tore the roof off the freaking place. Rest in peace, Lemmy. And Graham Elwood and I got some tour dates coming up.
Speaking of setting a stage on fire.
That's right, which is usually how we close the shows. No, just kidding. This weekend coming up, November 2nd, we're in Sacramento, California. That show is sold out. November 3rd, we're in San Francisco, California. Tickets are still available. If you're in Northern California, come hang out with us in San Francisco. Sacramento, can't wait to see you. Tickets for those shows available at RonPlacone.com or GrahamElwood.com. So we're continuing on the story that we started with in the last segment about the financial policies throughout the Obama administration that were not good. And, you know, the cliche exists because it's very true. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. And Graham has some personal experience here. He lost his home. Now, Graham, I want to ask you this before we get back into the story. So in the last segment, we were talking about how you lost your home, how you were made all these promises during both the Bush administration and the Obama administration. They made you the same empty promises, the same guarantees. You followed the rules, and then they said, F you, basically.
Right.
When did you know the writing was on the wall?
When it happened to me the third time. The second time under Obama. It happened to me once where they cut my payment in half, and then the third time. And so now at this point, I'd been making half payments for months. So they were like, you owe us 15 grand or whatever. Like and I couldn't get a straight answer. You went to the website, it would say one number. I'd get a statement in the mail saying a number, another one. I'd call someone on the phone. Nobody knew what was going on.
Right, and they would just pass the buck, right? They would say, well, you need to talk to this department. You need to talk to this department. That's what happens when you try to run a country like a shady corporation. That's what happens. That's why it's not a good thing.
It was completely shifty. And then I went to an attorney and I said, what do I do? And he said, stop making payments. when you get close to foreclosure, that's when they'll make a deal with you. They want to keep people in their homes. Now, I found out later that, some of the judges were paid off by the mortgage industry. And a buddy of mine was in a neighborhood that was way overvalued. So when the recession hit, the bankers knew that his home that neighborhood might not ever recover. So they restructured his loan. But I was in a very nice neighborhood, 4 blocks from the beach. They were like, get this guy out because we can make a profit off of this guy. And they did it all with taxpayer money.
Right. So basically, the Obama administration had a choice, and this is how we'll transition back into the article here. The Obama administration had a choice to help Wall Street or Main Street, and they picked Wall Street. And as a Treasury official put it like this, we can either have a rational resolution to the foreclosure crisis, or we can preserve the capital structure of the banks. We can't do both. They chose the banks. So let's go to graphic 4 here. Second, Obama administrations let big bank executives off the hook for their roles in the crisis. That's right, nobody got punished. You wanna go to a place where bankers actually get punished? Move to Iceland. Senator Carl Levin referred criminal cases to the Justice Department and was ignored. Whistleblowers from the government and from large banks noted a lack of appetite among prosecutors. In 2012, then Attorney General Eric Holder ordered prosecutors not go after megabank HSBC for money laundering.
Money laundering. So does the mob get a free pass on money laundering?
If they're helping out Wall Street.
Well, if they're helping out Wall Street, they are. Yeah, absolutely they do. Money laundering, they didn't get prosecuted.
So using prosecutorial discretion to not take bank executives to task, while legal, was neither moral nor politically wise. In a 2013 poll, more than half of Americans still said they wanted the bankers behind the crisis punished. But the Obama administration failed to act, and this pattern seems to be continuing. No one, for instance, from Wells Fargo, has been indicted for mass fraud in opening fake accounts. The only people that got punished regarding Wells Fargo were the employees.
Mid-level people.
At best. I mean, I think even that's, I would say probably more entry level. These were just people that were doing what they were told, that weren't really abreast of what was really going on. They got fired.
Well, and let's talk about the Wells Fargo thing for a second. This just shows the scam, the bumper sticker politics of the Democratic Party, right? So when the head of Wells Fargo was in front of that hearing, right, for these fake accounts, Elizabeth Warren's yelling at him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Calling him to task.
And it sounded beautiful.
Wow.
I'm not gonna say it didn't.
Liz Warren, she's fighting for all of us.
Right.
That guy walked out of there with a $124 million severance package. Wow, Liz, you're a tough talker. You're a big fighter. I will not vote for her. She also voted for $80 billion in more war money for Trump in October of 17. This is the thing that drives me nuts, man. So when Reagan inherited a bad economy, he did a lot of changes. Now we could talk and debate about trickle-down economics and stuff like that, but he did do some policies that helped some people, a fair amount of them, and that's why Bush Sr. won so easily, because it was just a continuation. Had Obama done that, had Obama been like, put people in jail, regulation, kept people in their homes, brought money and jobs back to America, whoever the nominee was in 16 for the Democrats would have won. Because it would have just been like, why would you leave this thing that's already working?
Well, in Reagan, I mean, and those types of things, more progressive things, would have helped people for the next 30 to 40 years. Whereas stuff Reagan did, in the short terms, there were some things, but then in the long term, it screwed everybody.
Well, that's the thing, we talk about this a lot, but this is so specific. If Obama would have come in and ran on actual and implemented when he had control of everything, and implemented, stiff bank regulation, put them in jail, started making green energy and green technology in America, brought jobs back that were sent overseas by Bill Clinton with NAFTA, and gave us health care for all. And instead of that nonsense Romney care that he acquiesced to the health care lobby, which pays the Democrats and Republicans equally, Democrats would never lose. That's why they had to put term limits on FDR. He couldn't lose because all he did was help out the working class across the board. He helped out factory workers, he helped out farmers, and this corporate state that we have. I talk about Tim Geithner. Goldman Sachs has had members in every presidential cabinet since Reagan. if you're wondering who's really running things. That's why no one is prosecuted, man. It's just like, it's so offensive to me, and that this like, just vote any blue will do. Who? More of these corporate sellouts? Or these CIA Democrats that are all former security operatives? Give me a break, man.
So we're getting to the part now that really hits home for you, Graham. So here's what Obama did to the homeowners. Third, Obama enabled and encouraged roughly 9 million foreclosures. You know the story Graham told? There's 9 million more of those, at least.
And a lot of them with people with kids. I was just a single guy. There was people whose kids, families, my whole retirement was tied up in my home. That's gone. So go to my patreon.com/Graham Elwood so I can
come
have
out to a show.
Yeah, come to the Progressive Comedy Tour.
Come out to a show.
Buy a t-shirt.
So this was Geithner's explicit policy at Treasury. The Obama administration put together a foreclosure program that it marked as a way to help homeowners. But when Elizabeth Warren, then chairman of the Congressional Oversight Panel, grilled Geithner on why the program wasn't stopping foreclosures, he said that really wasn't the point.
Liz Warren's
so
really...
they meant to help you,
Yeah.
but that didn't mean they weren't going to foreclose. There was like a coupon for Chipotle in there. That was
Elizabeth
the
Warren's
help.
really good at giving you a stern talking to and then doing nothing. It's really like, that's the last time, Ron Placone, and then you can go do whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? That's what Elizabeth Warren is good at doing, being a really good neoliberal in progressive clothing.
If somebody wants to throw a diatribe my way, and at the end of it, I get $124 million, diatribe away.
Can I go in front of Congress and be yelled at for $124 million?
I will gladly.
You whatever you want to accuse me of, I don't care.
Yeah.
Blame
yeah.
everything on me. I
Yell
did it.
away.
Yes,
There's a good chance the person that would be issuing the diatribe would be somebody I don't respect anyway.
Yeah.
So, my level of caring would be at an absolute zero.
Do it. Yell at me for $124 million. I'll own everything. I'm sorry. I never should have done that. Oh, I'm going to have to think about my crimes on my private island. Hey.
So the lesson here, everybody, is when you have two parties of Wall Street, you don't really have a two-party system. You have one party. You have the money party. And that's what we need to break away from. Otherwise, the demagogues are going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. We've reached a point of crisis. A status quo needs to change.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed this free clip of aggressive progressives on the Young Turks. This is just a preview of what you will receive with TYT membership. That means exclusive interviews, panel discussions, and more of Jimmy, and of course, me. If you like what you saw, you can access full episodes of Aggressive Progressives by becoming a member. Head to tyt.com/join now.